Have you ever wanted to restore your own classic or vintage automobile, but thought it was something that was beyond your capability? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not. It is definitely something that you can do. Hi, my name's Todd Brown, and I like old cars, particularly American muscle cars from the 1960s and 70s. And a few months ago, I completed the restoration of my very own 1965 Pontiac GTO, which I purchased several years ago, but I had sitting in my garage waiting for the appropriate time for me to begin the restoration. I am not a professional car builder. I have never restored a car before from start to finish. I've done minor work on cars, but never a complete restoration. And when I started thinking about restoring my GTO, initially I thought, well, this is something, the task is too big. I'm going to need professional help. Well, as I thought about it more and listened to other people who had restored cars in the past, my dad being one of those folks, and actually, quite frankly, watching YouTube videos with people that have done really amazing restorations in their own home garage or workshop, I thought, this is something I can definitely do myself. So I decided to take and commit myself to doing a full restoration on my GTO, and I think it turned out pretty well. And again, I did everything that from beginning to end on the car. I only outsourced a couple of things. The engine I did have professionally rebuilt by a professional engine builder, and I'll talk more about that later. But everything else, including the bodywork, the metal fabrication, and the paint, I did myself here in my own home workshop. And prior to doing this restoration, I had never attempted any of these tasks before. So I'm hoping that with my videos, if you'll follow along with me, you'll see that I'm not unique in this respect, that really anybody with just an average amount of knowledge and skill can really restore their own car themselves and do a really nice job of it. This is my 1965 Pontiac GTO that I restored myself right here in this very workshop. The restoration, quite honestly, took me a lot longer than I thought it would, about 6 years. I didn't work on the car, continuously. I worked on it, I don't know, off and on over that time period. There would be weeks and sometimes even months where I wouldn't do any work on the car. When I first purchased the car, it looked pretty decent. It didn't look nearly this good, but it looked pretty decent, and I really didn't see anything that was really that would scare me off, I guess you could say, as far as doing a restoration. But once I got started on the restoration, oh my goodness, there were a lot of issues with the car. A lot of rust in it that I had not anticipated. It was actually covered up pretty well by somebody who owned the car in the past. And a lot of mechanicals. There were serious issues really with every part of the car. But the car, the way it looks now, everything, including the paint, I did right here in this workshop that we're standing in right now. So my point is that no matter what the condition of the car, in most cases, it's definitely something that a hobbyist can do themselves. When I bought the car, it did run fairly well. It ran rough, but it ran fairly well. And it drove okay. And it looked fairly decent. I'll actually put up a screenshot of what the car looked like the day that I bought it and after I brought it home. I was living in Arizona at the time, and I really didn't anticipate any problems with rust or anything on the body. I figured, well, heck, it's an Arizona car. It's got to be in pretty decent shape. Well, I was completely wrong. The car had serious rust issues. The floor pans on both the driver and the passenger side and in the back seat were completely rotten. We'll open this up and take a look at it. This obviously is the finished interior. The interior was really rough when I got it. The upholstery was completely shot, and The carpets and everything were really bad. The door panels were really terrible. And I was able to do all that myself. The paint was in really rough shape. I didn't see really any rust through on the paint anywhere. And once I got started working on the car, I noticed some really terrible rot in a lot of areas. So the lower quarter panels below that seam line right there, those were all rotten. The rain gutters, these were all rotten, particularly down in the back side down here. The package tray inside there, underneath that vinyl shelf there, that was all rotten. This rear shelf was rotten. The trunk pan itself was rotten, and there's kind of an interesting story behind that that I'll share with you as well. The lower quarter panel on the driver or passenger side over here, it was rotten as well. And so anyway, there was lots and lots of rust issues that required some metal fab work. And initially I thought, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into here? I've never used a welder before, but you know what? It's not that hard. I taught myself. I bought a very inexpensive wire welder, and I was able to teach myself how to weld so that I could take and properly fix all of these rust areas. The bodywork, I had never done any bodywork before. I did the bodywork right here in the shop. I actually built a paint booth right where the car is sitting here. This particular bay was all completely enclosed. I used 2x4s for the framework, and I used heavy plastic sheathing, and then I ventilated it with 20-inch box fans that had filters and stuff on them. And it's a two-part paint. It's a base coat, clear coat, and you can see the car is not perfect by any means, and it wouldn't stand up to a Concours quality restoration at all. But for a first timer and somebody that did it in their own workshop in less than pristine conditions, it turned out really, really well. I've popped the hood here so that we can take a look at the engine compartment. The engine that's in the car is the original 389. This was not a tri-power car. It had a single Carter AFB 4-barrel carburetor on it. I didn't really change much of anything with the engine itself. There are a couple of aftermarket things, as you can tell. The intake manifold is a Edelbrock intake, and I'm using a Holly style carburetor. It's a quick fuel Slayer series carburetor, and I did change to a high energy ignition system on the car rather than the old alternator. It has the stock exhaust manifolds on it. I did upgrade the car with power brakes, and I put disc brakes up front. I retained the drum brakes in the rear, but I did convert it to power disc brakes. I went with an aluminum radiator for increased cooling. And the car was originally delivered, it was a fairly highly optioned car back in the day. It had air conditioning, and I deleted the heater and the air conditioner out of it. The engine, as I mentioned, I had professionally restored. A gentleman by the name of Alan Gold of Gold's Garage. He lives in London, Ontario. He knows Pontiac motors really well, knows GM stuff really well. Did a really fabulous job, and I'll provide more information about Alan and his shop at a later time. You can also check him out on YouTube at Gold's Garage at YouTube. The engine itself, like I mentioned earlier on, it was a running engine, but it didn't run well, and it was the original flat tappet, solid lifter engine, and the intake, the cam lobe for the #1 cylinder intake valve was ground completely down and had failed. So the engine is mostly stock. It's bored 30 over. It's a 0 deck height, 0 to 2000s deck height on it. And we did convert it to a hydraulic roller cam, but didn't do anything radical with camshaft. It's pretty stock. The engine makes 357 horsepower and 422, I think, foot-pounds of torque. So it runs pretty well. The steering, like I mentioned, the steering. Oh, I didn't mention the steering. I upgraded the brakes. I also upgraded the car. I didn't have power steering on it before, so I did upgrade it to a power steering unit. Put that on there. That's really nice. I'm really happy I did that. I redid all of the suspension and brakes. The suspension was in really, really tough shape. So on the A-arms, the upper and lower A-arms in the front and the control arms in the back, all new bushings on that, new tie rods, and everything steering-wise up front was new. And I'll put up some pictures of what some of those suspension components looked like during the teardown. That'll really it amazed me, and it'll probably surprise you as well. And I'll do the same thing as far as the rust that I found here for the lower quarter panels. I'll put up some pictures of that as well. The rust on the package tray back here, and the rust in the trunk as well, and as well as some of the other rust issues that I've found on the floors and things like that, to give you some idea of what I was up against. And the reason I mention this and I bring it up is to further convince maybe skeptical viewers that, you know, an amateur, well, I'll call myself an amateur. I'm an amateur car builder. I've never done one of these before. This was my first attempt. If you are a hobbyist like I am, and you have a car, or you're thinking about getting a car that needs some work, don't shy away from it. Definitely work that you can do yourself and end up with a really, really nice car that you'll enjoy driving and taking to car shows. Well, thanks for joining me for my first video here today about my 65 GTO. Provided you with just a little bit of an overview of the project. And the next video, I'm going to start showing you the specifics of the initial teardown, actually the initial walk around, detailed walk around of the vehicle, where I did an assessment based on what I could just see before I dismantled the car. And you'll notice that I was completely wrong in my assessment. That I thought I was far too optimistic, I guess you could say, is probably the right way to phrase that. But anyways, we'll start with each subsequent video. I'll take you further and further. We're going to go chronologically from when I started the project and started the restoration with the teardown and all the discoveries that I made, and then with the approach that I took and the procedures that I used as I taught myself essentially how to take and restore this car. I think you'll find it interesting. My way certainly isn't the only way to do this. In fact, a professional might even cringe in some particular instances and say, "Oh my gosh, why is he doing it like that?" Well, that's kind of the way it is in the real world, I guess. Professionals with their years of knowledge and experience and with all of the tools and equipment that they have, you know, they would certainly approach this differently than what an amateur builder like myself would do. But anyway, I hope that if you follow along with me and join me with each subsequent video, that maybe perhaps I'll inspire you to go out in the garage and build something really great. And if we can do that, then hopefully we'll call it a success, because these cars are great. They should be kept on the road for everyone to enjoy them, yourself included, obviously. They're fun to drive. And anyway, I hope that you'll consider going out in the garage and getting busy building something amazing. Again, thanks for following me along this long. And again, my name is Todd Brown, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers.